Shalom, shalom, Israel. This is FTF, or First Tabernacle Fellowship. Turn up and talk it out Tuesdays. I am your coordinator. Once again, my name is Ashanti. This is First Tabernacle Fellowship, where our head rabbi, pastor, and shepherd is Pastor Robert B. Holman Jr. We have a congregation located at 1211 C Street here in the city of Sacramento. Our website information is www.firsttab.org. And we have an app available also that you can get through Android and iPhone. And telephone number is 916-444-1908. This is a youth and young adult forum that First Tabernacle Fellowship hosts, where youth, young adult, and not so young can come and bring any matter, situation, issue, gripe, complaint to the table so that we can provide encouragement, edify, and come up with solutions, help bring our people to some clear understanding, and get some answers to the things that we face in life. So that's what this is about. And as usual, I will take about 10 to 15 minutes to talk a little bit, give everybody some time to get on, get into the meeting, get situated, and get on to the call. So I'll go ahead and say that I have been doing a little bit of studying, of course, the Parashah or Torah portion for this week. It starts at Genesis chapter 37, or Bereshit chapter 37, and it's Vayeshev, and that means and he settled and he dwelt. That's Yaakov or Israel. When he dwelt in the land of the promise, which is Canaan. And so I'll just give you a little overview, a rundown of that. In chapter 37, the father gives Joseph a multicolored robe, shows some favoritism to his son. Joseph has a dream, tells it to his brothers. They get jealous. Not only because of that, but because of their father, knowing that Joseph was the favorite son. We have that episode in chapter 37. And to me, also in this chapter, there's prophecy because the brothers sold Joseph into slavery, the Ishmaelites, and then Ishmaelites to the Midianites, and that's how Joseph ended up in Egypt or Mizraim. Chapter 38, the incident with Joseph and Potiphar's wife. Potiphar's wife tried to get Joseph to sleep with her, and he kept resisting her, and pretty much some evidence was left on the scene, and it was used to incriminate Joseph, even though he didn't do anything. He landed up in prison. And then after he landed up in prison, he was made master over the Pharaoh's cupbearer and baker, who also ended up in prison. And there's some reasons, according to the rabbis or sages, as to why the cupbearer and the baker ended up in prison. I won't go into that because I know some people don't believe in that. But I'll just say that the rabbis and sages do have it documented of what the actual reason was they ended up in jail. But the cupbearer and the baker had some dreams. Joseph interpreted the dreams, and that was that. In chapter 39, what is it? Taken down to Egypt. That's in chapter 39. That whole incident right there. In chapter 40, that's when Joseph interpreted the dreams, so on and so forth. That's just a little bit of an overview of what it is for the Parashah. That's what I've been studying. It's a lot to get out of that Parashah, but boy, oh boy, one thing I can say. How you doing, brother BA? I'll open the mic in a minute. Before I say or open up the mic, I will say that from the Parashah, I learned at least that the Father always gets victory out of an adverse situation. Even though some terrible things might happen to us in our life or occur in our life, we might think it's the end of the world. We might think the whole world is against us. We might think there's no way out. We might lose hope. Even though people talk about us or betray us, even though people closest to us, might have it out for us or whatever, the Father will always get victory out of an adverse situation. And so that to me lets me know there is hope. And the Father has a master plan, and I just got to keep trusting in Him that everything's going to work out to the glory of Him and for my good. So with that, I want to open up the mic. What's up, Brother BA? Brother BA, you there? Or did you step away?
Yeah, give me like a minute or two. I got to step away for a second.
All right. Let me turn this up. Just to put some air in, I will say that last week, the holiday of Thanksgiving, and I'll come out and start saying that I don't celebrate it anymore. I've been doing some research, some studying, some contemplating for the last 2 weeks. It's just been heavy on my heart, heavy on my spirit. And even though there may not be anything awry with it, I'd rather just hold off on participating in anything until I know for sure it's good or not. So I decided to back off of it until I know for sure. I'd rather be safe than sorry. But I know Thanksgiving was last week. People celebrate with their families, giving thanks. And I don't disagree with giving thanks to the Father at any time we're alive and breathing, have the activities of our limbs. I just feel we should give thanks to the Father every day. And anytime we have opportunity to spend with the ones we love, take that opportunity. So it's kind of a newfound strength in me to be outright forward with people, but I don't condemn anybody who still celebrates it. I love everybody. Everybody has a choice to make in life. Everybody has to do what's according to their feel and their spirit, or where the spirit leads them. So I hope everybody had a safe past week. I hope everybody's week this far has been okay and good and prosperous so far. And I hope people will continue to have a good week throughout the week. That no hurt, harm, or danger will come. I know in this world it's unpredictable. Because, I was watching the news earlier, and I'm like, man, I'm just seeing so much happening just in the city of Sacramento, just with this crazy spirited season that we're in, that I don't celebrate. But, with things going on, all I can do is just hope and pray and keep my eyes toward the Most High, to the hills from which cometh my help. And I'm going to put my faith and my trust in my Yahweh. Keep it moving like that. I see that brother BA, something must have happened to his connection or something, but I'll give him some time to come back in because he did already come in. Let me see. I think Sister Tammy was trying to get into the Hangouts, but let me see if I can send her the link here. Is that you, Brother BA? Or no, that's okay. He's not back yet. All right, give me a hot second. Trying to work with people trying to get into the meeting, and sometimes they have a little difficulty. So I'm gonna try to send out another invite. All right. All right. Let's see here. Besides that, what have I been doing? Oh, I do want to say this. I don't really have to say this, but I'm going to. The Hebrew language. I started studying the Hebrew language about 2 years ago. And one of the things that comes about when studying the Hebrew language is, which one you're going to study. And so I started learning classical Hebrew, which is biblical Hebrew. Biblical/classical Hebrew is different than modern Hebrew. Now there are some variations to the classical/biblical Hebrew in the fact that the wav or the vav is interchangeable. The sixth letter, you can say lewi or you can say levi. See, one of the things I do want to point out is that biblical or classical/Hebrew is not Yiddish. Yiddish is a Germanic tongue, but biblical classical Hebrew is not Yiddish. If I could just show for 1 second, I'm gonna pull up Google Translate. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pull up Google Translate and I'm gonna show some things that can be settled real quick. The reason why I'm able to to talk about this is because I studied it. For example, the word peace. The word peace in classical biblical Hebrew would be shalom. Okay, if you were to say peace in Yiddish, it would be frieden. Okay, the what happens is some people may not understand the pictures or the graphics as to how a letter is expressed. Okay, classical or biblical Hebrew after the return out of Babylonian exile, Ezra the scribe, the main one, started using Aramaic block script. Let me show it to you guys. This is Aramaic block script was started to be used after the children of Israel came out of Babylonian captivity. So the way the letters looked were different, but the same amount of consonants were the same. The numerical value to each consonant was the same. Let's see. I'm going to show it to you here. Let's just go there. All right. So let me screen share real quick here. This is Aramaic block script here. Okay, this is Aramaic block script without the vowel points underneath. Right? All right. Hold on. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. All right. So go back here. This is Aramaic block script. All right, and this is what happened to be used as the grapheme or the picture to represent the consonant. All right. The Paleo Hebrew is a different looking type of letter, a different looking type of picture. For example, in English, I speak English. That's my first language. But in English, you have your block script and then you have your cursive. But they're the same letters, they're the same language, they just look different. Okay. So this is the Aramaic block script that came to be used after. Now in Yiddish, okay, in Yiddish, in Yiddish, the letters took on the same Aramaic block script. Okay, so let me show you right here. Let me enter the word shalom and then all right. So I'm gonna screen share this real quick. Hopefully this is seen. But if not, you can go to Google Translate. All right, just play around with it a little bit. So shalom, the word for peace, right? Shalom. In the Hebrew is Shin, Lamed, Vav, Mem, Sofit. All right, from right to left. Shin, Lamed, Vav, Mem, Sofit. All right. In the Hebrew, that's what that is. But if you go down to Yiddish, Yiddish, it's going to be SHLUM, right? All right, so check this out. The word peace in English is FRIDN, okay? So from right to left, it's going to be your Pei, Resh, Yod, Dalet, Nun, Sofit. All right? So the Pei is going to have your F sound. Your Resh has your R sound like your R. Your Yod just going to have a I sound. And your Dalet's going to have your D sound. Uh, okay. All right. Let me pause this for a second. All right, I got some people trying to get back into the call. I think there's something going on, but let's see here. All right, brother BA is trying to get back into the call, so we gonna get him in. We gonna get him in, most def. Let's see. All right. While we're waiting on that, let me get back to this for a second. So if you say peace in English, it's Fridin in Yiddish. If you say peace in the Hebrew, shalom. Shalom. All right. So Shin Lamed Vav Mem Sofi. In the Yiddish, it's something very different. It's Pei Resh Yod Dalet Nun Sofi. All right. All right. All righty here. Somebody trying to get into the, let's see. All right, so I just want to make that clear and understood that classical / biblical Hebrew is not Yiddish. Okay, it is not Yiddish. I don't tell people they have to learn the language. Um, the Father gives each and every last one of us different gifts, um, different callings, and everyone may not have the same gift or calling. Um, yeah, I choose to use the names Yahweh for Yod Hey Vav Hey, and I choose to use the name Yeshua instead of Jesus most of the time. I mean, but that's just my personal conviction because of what I've studied and what I've came to understand um, through the Holy Spirit. I don't mind anybody using any rendition of Yod Hey Vav Hey. I don't mind anybody using any rendition for the Messiah. You know, I will say that I know I know from learning Hebrew the linguistics, the grammar rules, the syntax rules, um, the morphology, uh, those intricacies such as that, you know, first person, second person, what's adjective, what's the conjugation, what's the imperfect, what's the perfect, what's the subject conjugation, what's the prefix conjugation. You know, I tend to study all that stuff, and I know what makes sense in the Hebrew and Aramaic, and I know what doesn't make sense in the Hebrew and Aramaic. Now, what I will say is that um, I'm not an expert on it, but coming into learning a language, me personally, I have never seen, in learning a language, I have never seen so many people have various ideas about how to speak a certain language when it comes to this classical / biblical Hebrew. I mean, classical slash biblical Hebrew has been accused of not being what it is. I will always hear somebody say, "Oh, I'm speaking Yiddish," or I will hear somebody saying, "Those are not the correct vowel points," or I will hear somebody saying, "Oh, they removed this letter and added that letter." And I've 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 did some historical research on who the Masoretes were when they started doing us a favor and helping preserve the helping us preserve the pronunciation of things. I've also done some research on why people say Jehovah, and I learned the difference between saying Yehoshua and Yeshua. Um, I learned all those differences. Do I argue with people? No. You know why I don't argue with people? Because they may not have done the research that I have done. That's why I don't argue. Um, they may not be learning the language like I've learned the language and take the time and the effort to put in the work and study like I have. So no, I don't argue with people like that. But I tend to find that people who don't study like to argue a lot. And I just let them have that argument. I don't need to argue with people like that. I do what I do in my studies for my spiritual growth. You know what I mean? And for people who really want to be edified and come into the knowledge. That's what I do my studies for. I don't do it to go out and I'll beat people and argue with them. So yeah, the classical biblical Hebrew once again, it is not Yiddish. We are not speaking Yiddish. There's a big difference between classical slash biblical Hebrew and Yiddish. And if you would like to see it again, I can show you again. All you got to do is go to Google Translate. Um, like I said, I don't have no problem with somebody using Yahweh Shai for Jesus. I don't have no problem with people using Jesus. I don't have no problem with somebody saying Yahshua. I don't have no problem with somebody saying Yeshua. I just don't have no problem. I know why I do things. You know, if somebody asks me, I can break down every technicality of why I pronounce a word the way I do and why I spell it the way I do. I get real academic when it comes to the Hebrew grammar and language. When it comes to that, because that's an area to get scholastic and academic on. Other than that, I don't see any need to be arguing with people. I just don't. For the BA, you're back.
Yeah, what's up with it?
Not much. You turn your volumes up.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you a little bit. I turn your volume up all the way over here.
How about now?
Just to sound the same.
Hold on for a second.
All right.
How about now?
Yeah, a little bit better. You can go ahead and talk. I've been talking for a while.
What's up? What were you talking about?
Oh man, I was just talking about the Torah portion for a little bit, and I was talking about what the difference is between Hebrew and Yiddish. Because you know, when I start learning the classical slash biblical Hebrew, I get accused of speaking and learning Yiddish, and that I'm not learning the actual legitimate language. So I just wanted to clarify that up just a little bit. Oh, and I was also saying that I'm one of the people who don't have a problem with any variation of the pronunciation of Yod Hey Vav Hey, and I don't have any issue with anybody using any rendition for the Messiah or Christ.
That's good because you understand the difference between translation and transliteration. You know what I'm saying? Because when you look at any lexicon or either my Vines or my Strong's Concordance, A lot of brothers like to always say, well, Jesus, that's another name for Zeus. That's not true. That's a that's a doctrine of devils. If you look at any lexicon in the Greek, Jesus and Zeus are two different names. So that's a lie, the pits of hell, man. So and a lot of brothers, man, it's funny because brothers are so loose with that. They'll just use that so quick, and brothers always want to quick. They're always quick to say, "Oh, I'm studied real well. I know everything." And then all of a sudden, that little detail right there just shows me you don't know much. So when it comes to Jesus or Yeshua or my GOCC brothers, I like to always say Yeshaya. There's so many different pronunciations. My thing is, I know who you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? And I don't have any issues with Yeshua or Yahweh Shai or what. We know that it's not the name, it's the character, it's the reputation. Like if you turn to Matthew 24, I have my Septuagint on me, but I don't have it. The Septuagint is just the Old Testament, the Apocrypha. But in Matthew 24, I believe, if you go to I want to say maybe verse 7 or 8, when the Messiah, and I'm paraphrasing, when he says, "Many will come in my name, saying that I am the Christ."
That's
Matthew 24.
Yeah, that's verses 5.
Yeah, and no matter what, whoever comes in the name of the Messiah, I noticed that a lot of brothers use that name, and when people use that name, whether it be Jesus or Yahweh Shai or the various other ones, that gives a lot of people a comfort. That brings comfort to a lot of people. So when brothers or elders or teachers are using that name and they have people under them, I tend to notice that since they come in that name, people are just so comfortable with whatever that teacher is teaching. And it could be the most outrageous teaching ever, but as long as they come in that name, some people tend to just get real comfortable with that character they're using. You know what I'm saying? With Christ, whether it be Yahweh Shai or whatever. And we have to understand as students of the scriptures and believers that we are supposed to study to show thyself approved. So when someone is teaching us something, we should be able to tell the difference whether it's false or not. So one thing I noticed in this age of deception that we're living in is that a lot of people, whether it be Jesus or whatever, they're gonna use that spirit to try to deceive you. A lot of brothers do that, man. Seriously, I've seen it. I see it daily. And that's all I just want to expound.
I'm gonna read that verse for you. Matthew 24, verse 5. It says, many shall come in my name, saying, I am the Messiah, and they shall lead many astray. So, no, I mean, you can have, like you said, you can have the name. They want to come in the character because the Messiah has built such a reputation. You know what I mean? It's built such a reputation, but we have to be on guard. We have to be on guard. Like that leads me back to like the Deuteronomy 13 test. Somebody can say, you know what, I'm this person, I'm a prophet, and what I said came to pass. So come and follow me, so we can go and worship these other Elohim or gods that our forefathers did not know or ever knew. And we have to be on guard. We have to guard our spirit for real. So yeah, I just wanted to say that. You know, the thing about it is, Brother BA, man, I want to go so hard in this video, but I'm not. But
Hey,
one thing
sis.
I will one thing I will say is when I started studying, I put in a lot of work, I put in a lot of time, and I put in a lot of effort to learn that Hebrew. I really did, and still go hard at it. And I do not claim to be a teacher. I do not claim to be a minister. I do not claim to be an evangelical person. But what I find is that people who don't do that tend to want to argue the most about something. And I can tell off the bat, as a person who studies that language, I can tell off the bat if they know what they're talking about or not. And sometimes I know people don't know what they're talking about, but I won't get into that argument. I just let them keep talking. You know what I mean? And it just really trips me out. it just really trips me out that I mean, the whole Yiddish thing, and this is why I'm saying this, because all it takes is a good history lesson to go see who the Masoretes were. There is such a bias of who the Masoretes were, Brother BA, because a lot of people think the Masoretes are the Khazars or the Khazars who converted over to Judaism and are now calling themselves the Jews. A lot of people think the Masoretes started with the Khazars or the converts, right? But I'm like, nah, the Masoretes, they didn't start really doing anything. They already were speaking the language in their services, their songs, their prayers. Okay, you know what I'm saying? They had the language, and if you look at the Masoretic text, it's Tiberian, and we know where Tiberias was, right? It was like right by the Sea of the Galilee. So all it takes is a good little history lesson, and starting from the 4th and 5th century, the Masoretes from Tiberias using vowel points or not vowel points, using the vocalization that they were most aware of. They wanted to find a way to preserve that, what they were already saying, and they started doing that. The converts of the Khazars, didn't come along until what, the 8th century. So that's a long time after. So that whole accusation, I'm like, all it takes is a little bit of history to see what the real deal is. You know what I mean? The Masoretes are not the Masoretes are not the converts. Put it that way. And then I'm gonna give you something that you probably already knew, but for anybody out there listening or listening later who don't know, I'm gonna pull out my book in a second, because it says this. In the Bible where it says capital L, capital O, capital R, capital D, is in place of Yod Hey Wah or YHWH. Okay.
Yeah.
What happened is, it's a tradition. I mean, that started back in, like 146 BC or 164 BC, somewhere around there, somewhere around King Antiochus' time, right? King Antiochus' time, and some of the Yehudim wanted to protect the name or whatever, whatnot. So it started to become a tradition to wherever you saw the letters Yod Hey Vav Hey, they wanted you to see that and say Adonai, right? And so anybody who was a practicing Yehudim or anybody of the faith, they would know whenever you saw Yod Hey Vav Hey, go ahead and say Adonai. So what the Masoretes did, and the word Masorete comes from the word Mazorah, which means tradition. So the Masoretes were, your oral tradition people who, had an oral tradition, but they wanted to preserve the vocalization on paper. But so anytime they saw Yod Hey Vav Hey, they wanted you to say Adonai. And so what happened is they took the new code, the Nikodot, or the vowel points for Adonai, and they put it under Yod Hey Wahe, right? So you have under the Aleph for Adonai, you have a what you call a Hatef Patach, which is your Shavah plus a Patach that gives that ah sound. But there's some rule, I forget what it's called. There's some rule you can't put the under the Aleph, you can't have the Patach under there. So they just took the Shavah, the 2 dots. They put the 2 dots under the Yod, okay, and then they put the whole M to make the O sound over the Vav, okay, and then they put the Kametz under the Vav, so that gives it your He, your Yehovah, all right. So that's why people start saying Yehovah. Actually, if you were a practicing person of the faith, you would know that Nakudo or that vowel point meant to say Adonai. That's all that was. And actually, the Masoretes, Brother BA, or anybody listening, they would blatantly tell you that would be the only place where they did that at. Or they would put the vowel points for Elohim under Yod Hey Vav Hey. They would put the vowel points. So you'll see Yod Hey Vav Hey sometimes have the vowel points for Elohim. You'll have what you call your Segol, your Holem, and your Hidek. All right. And that's just a little bit of technical. That's basic Hebrew. Like if anybody really studies, they'll know what I'm talking about if I say that. But I'm not doing this to confuse you, Brother BA, or anybody out there listening. But what I'm saying is, for people who actually do sit down and take the time, it'd be like an insult. You know what I'm saying? For people to come and say you don't know what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying, Brother BA? That's like if a person grew up speaking Spanish since they was a baby. If a person grew up speaking Spanish since they was a baby, and somebody come along who Spanish is not their first language, maybe it's their 4th or 5th language, and then that person comes along and tells that person who speaks Spanish from a baby, you don't know what you're talking about, you speaking the wrong language. That ain't how you say that. That's like an insult. That's
Yes, it is. I just put in work. You put in work, and yeah, I agree with you 100%. Like when we deal with individuals who claim they know Christ and always want to come against us who actually study and want to tell us, oh, you misinterpreted it wrong. Well, hold on, wait a minute. And I try not to boast with a lot of people who don't study, who claim to study. But I tell them all the time, like it's a lot of people who I know who don't study at all, but always want to fuss and fight with me over something I read in the scriptures. And a lot of those conversations, I walk away. I just act like I didn't hear anything. But sometime somebody just got to be. They just have to be showed. You got to make an example out of them. Every now and then, you just got to do it. Seriously. So believe me, I know exactly what you're talking about. I mean, like I said, when it comes to the Hebrew language, I only know what's in my lexicons. You know what I'm saying? That's very little. But
right.
And I'll never come against anybody that speaks another language, especially who's been studying it for quite some time. I'll take your word for face value. Real talk. That's real.
and you know, I don't claim to know everything. I don't. I say I'm still studying. You know what I mean? But like you said, you study the scripture and you're not doing it to brag or boast. But you know, you can easily tell if somebody been putting in the work if they're gonna try to tell you what thus says Yah or what doesn't say the Most High. You know off top, and I feel you. But let me just say, let's go to one famous passage.
I was looking at Exodus chapter 3.
Exodus 3. Let's go to Exodus 3.
And
You want to go there?
Yeah, no, reason being is because I'm looking at my Septuagint,
Yeah.
and I know the King James says something totally different. When this is the part in Exodus chapter 3 when Moses was saying to the Most High, when the people asked me who sent me, what should I tell them? And I'm gonna pick it up at verse 14. And God spoke to Moses, saying, I am the being. And he said, thus shall ye say to the children of Israel, the being has sent me to you. And God said again to Moses, thou shalt say to the sons of Israel, the Lord God of our fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my name forever, and my memorial to the generations of generations. And I stop there. I know your text has some a little different because yours is a Hebrew translation.
Well, I do have the Septuagint on my phone here, and I follow exactly what you're saying. But in the it's very easy. I'll read it. I'll read it in the Hebrew after I read these scriptures, and I'll say something. It says, and Elohim said to Moshe, I am that which I am. And he said, thus you shall say to the children of Israel, I am has sent me to you. Verse 15 says, and Elohim said further to Moshe, thus you are to say to the children of Israel, Yahweh or Yod Vav Elohim of your fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Yitzchak or Jacob, and of Isaac, and the Elohim of Yaakov or Jacob has sent me to you. This is my name forever, and this is my remembrance to all generations. Let me read it in the Hebrew real quick. Let me screen share real quick. Let's pull you up. I'm pulling on my Esau right now. It's taking some time. We're gonna make them bigger. Exodus 3, 14 and 15. Okay, this one don't have the vowel points, but I'm gonna make it out as best as I can with it. Let me screen share. Can you see that, Brother BA?
Yeah.
All right. Make it a little bit bigger. All right. Yeah, that's from right to left. Vayomer Elohim El Moshe Ehye Asher Ehye Vayomer Ko Tomar Livne Yisrael Eye Shalachni Elohim Elohim. And you know what? I'm really not that good without the vowel points, my brother. But I'm trying my best from practice. All right. And anyone out there listening or looking. This is Vayomer Od Elohim El Moshe Ko Tomar El B'nai Yisrael Yod He Wahe or Yahweh or Yahovah or Yahweh or the rendition. Elohe Elohe Abraham Elohe Elohe Avatechem, Elohim of your fathers, Avatechem, Elohe Avraham, Elohe Yitzchak, Be Elohe Yaakov, Shalachnu Elohim, Ze Shami Leolam. Okay, dang. All right, let me stop screen. Let me keep screen sharing. But these words up here, what I say, the Ehye Asher Eye, with the vowel points, there'll be something else. Like the vowel points will be under here, but it'll be Aya, Asher, Aya. That's where you'll get some brothers saying Ahaya, Asher, Ahaya, or whatever. But if you understand the vowel points that go under Aya, it's I am that I am, or I shall be that which I shall be. So under here, under the Aleph would be a Segol. Under the Hay would be a Shavah. Under the Yod uh, will be another would be a Sede or whatever. But I am that which I am. That's your first person, and then when he says Yahweh right here, that's your third person masculine. Yod Hey Wah. So under here, you would see what did I say? A Shavah. You'll see a Holam Vav up top, and then you'll see a Vav. Excuse me, you'll see a comments under the Vav. But a lot of brothers or sisters, they won't know why certain vowel points go under certain vowel points. But I don't get into the argument. But that's what it is. So nah, I wasn't speaking no Yiddish. That's straight biblical, and I did better than I thought I was gonna do without the vowel points being underneath. But I believe the Father was trying to let the children know this power was gonna come and save you. This power was gonna come and rescue you because I heard your cry. This power was gonna come show the power and the might and the strength. That it has. That's what I believe. So
Yeah, because we have to understand that he didn't reveal himself as I am the being or I will be to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He did that to Moses and to the children of Israel because he's going to be the one to save them, like you just said. And that's what Yahweh or whatever brothers like to pronounce, that's what it stands for. That I will be. You know what I'm saying? The one to save you, because we have to understand that the Most High, the Father, also Christ, we can include Christ in that as well as his representative. But what we have to understand is that he it's this book I'm reading. It's called Being in Messiah by Jose Miranda. If you get a chance, look that up on your Scrib account. I have all his physical copies. I have Scrib as well, but if you get a chance, look up Jose Miranda, and it's called Being in Messiah, and he breaks down the actual it's a study on the book of John and the Most High's intervention in history through Moses and Christ. And he makes some very good points. Very good points. But what a lot of people they fail to realize is that when we still tend to get the Father, we still subject him to an idol, to being an idol. And what I mean by that is like he just said, I am, or the being, I will be. That is an individual who's going to do something. You know what I'm saying? Action. So a lot of brothers, when they say, "Oh, that ain't the proper name," or it's Jehovah, or it's Jehovah, or it's Yahweh, or whatever, what we're doing is that we're not letting his character. That's why I try to tell brothers, let's not argue over a pronunciation. It's about the character. It's about the reputation. And when we go back and forth arguing all the time, we're not letting, in this particular text right here, Yahweh, we're not letting that substance, because it's about the substance of the name, not the pronunciation. And when you are arguing back and forth over a pronunciation, you are not doing the substance no justice, because I am, or the I will be, is something that he is going to do. And that's the problem with brothers, man. Whether it be a Christian or a Sunday Christian or a Sabbath observant Christian, they spend countless minutes arguing back and forth over the pronunciation when the pronunciation was never the point from the beginning. It was about the action. It was about what he was going to do. Yeah, and you can, you know what? I think it's another one in Exodus. I think it was Exodus chapter 6 when he said to Moses that I didn't reveal myself. I forget which one it is. Hold on for a second.
You got it. Exodus 6 verse 3. That's where you want it, right?
That's exactly what I wanted. Let me get to it real quick.
There you go.
You said Exodus 6 verse 3?
Yep.
Okay, let me. And I'm reading out the Septuagint. And I appeared to Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, being their God or their El, but I did not manifest to them by my name. I'm sorry. Let me read that over. And I appeared to Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, being their El, but I did not manifest to them my name, Lord. And I established my covenant with them to give them the land of the Canaanites, the land wherein they sojourn, in which also they dwell as strangers. So, when he revealed himself to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, there was another name they knew him by.
That name was just straight up El, because
El.
that was like the general. That was a general title for a deity. They were calling on the power that they knew their forefathers had.
Exactly.
That's what they knew. They knew they forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, had a power that saved them before. So they cried out to that power. That's what they cried out to, right?
So and the thing is that they knew him. It could have been. We'll say it's Elohim or Elohim, or brothers like to get technical over that pronunciation too. But they knew him as this, like you said, this power, this source. You know what I'm saying? But they didn't subject him to being some type of. They didn't subject him to what brothers do now. Like, no, it's Yahweh, or no, it's Jehovah. They didn't do that. It was a universal name. His name was universal. You know what I'm saying? So, because we know the Father is not bound to time or anything physical, because he is spirit.
Correct.
So we have to remember that as we're walking, as we take this walk, that we're not dealing with a fleshly being. And I know we have talked about this once before, but every now and then we need to hear this a few more times. We have to stress that we're dealing with a spiritual being that existed before there was a humanity. Before there was a there is, he was already there. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's crazy how brothers go, how individuals like to go back and forth. And really what they're doing is they're not doing the Father or the Messiah any justice. Same thing with Yeshua. I think it stands for Yah saves. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe something of that magnitude.
Mm-hmm.
But
Y'all saves, y'all salvation. Yeah,
exactly,
that's it.
he's Yah's salvation. But when brothers go back and forth, Jesus, no, that's the devil's name, or Yeshua, or Yehoshua, or I mean, I've heard all different type of pronunciations. You're taking away from the substance of what the name carries. You're taking away when you do that. The point is, he saves. Doesn't really matter what the pronunciation is. That's your salvation right there. That's your grace. So believe, hey, and I have argued this countlessly. I mean, so many times. And for some reason, especially our people, they would just argue you up and down to the point to where you're like, you know what, fine, okay, Yeshua. I'll just say Yeshua from now on. Good Lord. Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, I get exactly what you said. I do. I get exactly what you said. And I'm like, okay, when it comes to spiritual matters, let's deal with spiritual matters. When it comes to scholastic academia matters, let's get on some scholastic academia. However, when it comes to scholastic academia, that stuff has a bottom line standard, and it's, you really got to know what you're really into when you getting into the scholastic academia thing. But yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly on the father having to say what he did say. I shall be that which I shall be, because he was getting ready to do something. He was getting ready to save these people. He was getting ready to go rescue. However, he had to say, what, I am I am that I am. I'm gonna be, and I'm gonna do this. But he had to tell him that because he was getting ready to show that power. Because the children of Israel had been in Mitzrayim or Egypt for so very long, probably influenced by all these other deities they had going on up in there, because they practiced polytheism, which means the believing in multiple gods at the same time, And so once you're in a land for so long, you can get accustomed or influenced by the deities or by the gods that they worship and how they worship them. You know what I mean? So the father had to show, I'm finna come in with my power, and I'm finna show y'all. I am this rescuer who delivered Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And I'm gonna show you how powerful I am. I'm gonna make a distinction between my people and everybody else. You know what I'm saying? So it's and from then on, if the father wasn't known by the whole world, then everybody knew who the father was gonna be after that. You know what I'm saying? And he was gonna have a great reputation in the land and the surrounding lands.
Most definitely.
That's what was going on, I believe, up in Exodus chapter 3. When he was revealing, like, man, this what I'm about to do. I'm about to reveal myself, and everybody's gonna see. And it's about to go down, and it did go down. So yeah.
Just like
Go ahead.
Jeremiah 31.
Jeremiah 31.
That's a very good example of what you were just talking about. Give me like 15 seconds, real quick. I'm stepping
All
away.
right. Jeremiah 31. And excuse me, anybody out there listening or is going to listen later, if I sound a little bit congested, I am a little bit. I'm gonna make me something warm to drink a little bit. I can clear up. But this is once again First Tabernacle Fellowship. Turn up and talk it out Tuesdays. If you have any subject matter, issue, question, concern that you want to bring to the table anytime, you can bring it here. You don't have to join anything. You don't have to be a member of anything. This is not the place where you're going to be indoctrinated. This is not the place where we're going to say, you know what, you're wrong. If we disagree, we disagree. If we agree, we agree. We do everything in love, and we do everything in peace. And we just want to edify and uplift our people. And I know me and Brother BA just been talking about a couple of things, that's been on the heart, mind, and spirit. And I believe we're talking about this because, sometimes things need to be clarified. Sometimes things need to be cleared up.
100%.
So it just got to be that way sometimes. But go ahead, Brother BA. Jeremiah 31.
All right. Got to crack open this King James real quick. Let me see. Verse 31. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. Not according to the covenant that I made with them, I made with their fathers in the day that I took them out of hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was a husband unto them, saith the Lord. But this shall be a covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord. I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts, and will be their God, and they shall be my people. And they shall teach no more, every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, Know the Lord, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith the Lord. For I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember their sin no more. Now stop there. In this time, we know that this is going to be at the end of what we call this so-called world we're living in. This is going to be a different type of setting. This is going to be when everybody present is going to know who the Lord is. They're going to know who I will be, or I am that being, or Yahweh. They're going to know, because he said in verse 30, let me see, verse 34, and they shall teach no more, every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, Know the Lord. Ain't no more, it's not going to be no more teaching, because it's going to be automatic, mandatory. You're going to know who this God is.
It's going to be in our heart.
Is that he's going to be in you. And that's why I was saying earlier, we cannot subject this God to being an actual idol. We can't subject him to a name, to a pronunciation, because he is spirit. Spirit lives. It manifests through people. That's how the Father lives. That's how the Father was revealed through Christ, because he lived, because he manifests through Christ. That's the Father.
Exactly. Hallelujah.
Know what I'm saying? So let me see. Forgive me for getting for the brain freeze. Lost my train of thought. There was another scripture in here I want to go to.
Paraphrase.
I think this is Jeremiah 22, I believe. Let me check. I was just thinking of it, and I had it. Let me see.
Can you paraphrase it?
When he was talking about when the prophet was talking to the king, I forget which king it was, and he was saying that your fathers knew me because he executed justice. This is what it means to know me. Man. That's not. Watch it come back to me later on. Was it Jeremiah 22? No, I don't think so. Jeremiah 6. Maybe it's Jeremiah chapter 6. Because
he was going off a lot in Jeremiah, though. I mean,
yeah. Most definitely. Yeah, the reason being is because Most High willing in a few weeks, because I'm doing a study on Jeremiah right now. And I was looking at this I was looking at it about a week ago. And right now, man, and I was looking at my commentary, and there was some great points that I wanted to use. Man, it was good too.
Let me see. No, I don't think that's the one.
I don't think that's the one either. Man, it's right on the tip of my tongue. I apologize, sis.
It's all right. Sometimes they come, sometimes they don't. You know.
Yeah, because it was another one I had it. It was a good one too. It was a good one that parallel with this whole topic we've been bringing up since Exodus. It parallels right with it. Oh my gosh.
Right. Well, I think you boiled it down to Jeremiah, because Jeremiah, the father was going off on Israel because they was backsliding. Pretty much, this is where the father gave Israel a divorce at. So he was
Yep.
laying upon laying it on us. He's
Most
like, yeah,
definitely.
your fathers knew me, but you over here backsliding, you over here turning away. So there was plenty of places in here that he went off at. So I can understand, if you don't have it right off the bat.
Turn to Jeremiah 23.
Oh boy, you going to this chapter?
Yeah, yeah.
All right,
This ain't the one, but this is another one we can use for an example.
no problem.
I'm
Yep.
gonna pick it up at verse 26. No, 20. I'm gonna start at 25.
Yep. All right.
I had heard what the prophet said, that prophesies lies in my name, saying, I have dreamed, I have dreamed. How long shall this be in the heart of the prophets that prophesies lies? Ye they are prophets of the deceit of their own heart, which think to cause my people to forget my name by their dreams, which they tell every man to his neighbor, as their fathers have forgotten my name for Baal. I was debating with a brother a while back on this one. He was talking about how you ain't supposed to say the Lord, because Baal is synonymous with Lord, or Lord is synonymous with Baal. And I was trying to explain to him, do you understand the context of what this is saying? These are false prophets who are coming in the name of Yah or Yahweh, but what the Most High is revealing to the prophet in verse 27, I read again, which think to cause my people to forget my name by their dreams, which they tell every man to his neighbor, as their fathers have forgotten my name for Baal. He wasn't talking about they were literally calling him Baal. They were getting his character mixed up with Baal. That's what it was. The substance of the father's name, and they were getting his substance mixed up with the character of Baal. That's what he was talking about, because these are false prophets coming in the name of the Father, which the Messiah said the same thing in Matthew 24. They would come in my name saying that I am the Christ. They were going to show these false prophets right here were coming in the name of Yah. That's what they were doing. A lot of Hebrew Israelites of this day and age right now will go here and try to tell you that you cannot call the Most High Lord because you're calling him Baal, because Jeremiah verse 23 and 27.
I think too, because of what's said in Hosea chapter 2. And I went there while you were reading, when you were talking about the prophets of falsehood and the prophets of deceit of their own heart. They make my people forget my name by their dreams, which everyone relates to his neighbor, as their fathers forgot my name for Baal. I think because of Hosea chapter 2, I'm going to read verses 16 and 17. It says, and it shall be in that day, declares Yahweh, that you call me my husband, and no longer call me my Baal. And I shall remove the names of the Baals from her mouth, and they shall no more be remembered by their name. Yeah, the Baals were different deities. And I think people have, probably looked at these two scriptures right here and be like, see, you were calling me the Baal. And to me, that goes back to the golden calf situation. Was it Exodus 32? Exodus 32, I believe. When the children of Israel, asked for a deity to worship and celebrate for them coming out of Egypt, and they had the golden calf made, and they were worshiping the golden calf, calling it the Most High, calling it Yahweh, calling it the Creator who saved them out of Egypt. And so the children of Israel, like I was saying before, when you're in a land for so long, you can get influenced, adjusted, and accustomed to, the deities worshipped in that land, and you start to forget, like you said, the actual one who did the saving. You start to forget the actual one who is your creator, who is your savior, who is your husband, who is your master, and I believe that's what some people may get confused by. But also, like, I'll just read the Deuteronomy 13. This Deuteronomy 13. I call this the Deuteronomy 13 test because it's a test. Because the father was going in here and pretty much, I'll read it real quick. Deuteronomy 13, verse 1 says, when there arises among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and he shall give you a sign or a wonder, and the sign or the wonder shall come true, of which he has spoken to you, saying, let us go after other mighty ones, which you have not known, and serve them. Do not listen to the words of that prophet or that dreamer of dreams, for Yahweh your Elohim is trying you to know whether you love Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart and with all your being. I'm just going to stop right there. The Father gave us a warning. So what if something comes to pass? We have to have that discernment. We have to have that discernment to see if the Father sent these people or not. They can come in the Father's name. They can do all these miraculous things. They can have things of them spoken that come true and come to pass. But sometimes people use that to manipulate so they can get us to go worship these other deities. And so we have to be mindful of that. That's all I want to say.
Oh yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah, that's Deuteronomy 13 is a good that's a good point to make. Yeah, very good point. I ain't read Deuteronomy 13 in quite some time. It's been a while. Yeah,
Oh
it's been a
yeah.
while.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Normally, when it comes to Torah, I'm pretty familiar with Exodus and Deuteronomy because those are the ones that I have. When I started reading the Bible by myself on my own, those are the two books that stood out to me. I didn't really start getting a better understanding of Leviticus until maybe I'll say about maybe 5, 6 years ago. Is when I actually started really coming, like actually really living like this. You know what I'm saying? Trying to change up the way I eat and stuff like that. That's when I really started paying attention to Leviticus more often. And I'm still new to Numbers. I know the stories of Numbers, but because I have read through it, but Numbers is still the book I'm not saying I'm not having trouble with it. I'm still new to learning Numbers. There's still some things in there that I have to look through there and read through and absorb and get a better understanding in with the book of Numbers. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, the when we go through our every year we go through the Torah cycles, so that helps a lot when you keep repeating going over the Torah over and over again every year. It helps a lot to get grounded in the foundation. So that's why I was telling you about the
Torah Portions.
the Torah portions.
Okay,
It does
now
help out a lot. Huh?
do you order that online?
You can actually type it in online. It's let me pull it up here.
Can I get it on Script?
Nope, just pull it up online, the internet.
Okay.
I'm gonna show you what it looks like here.
I'm
It's
more of I'm more of a physical copy kind of guy though.
Yeah, you can get some from it's firstfruitsofzion.org.
First Fruits of Zion, FOZ, right?
Yeah, FFOZ
Okay,
dot org.
FF. Okay, so you can order it. Is it free or you have to pay?
Uh, that's a good point. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, because I
I
I was
don't know.
thinking. I was thinking about that today. It's crazy how that came up because I was thinking about that today because I remember you showing that to me, and
Mm-hmm.
I seen somebody else with it too,
Ah,
and I was at work and I was just thinking about it because I was thinking to myself like I need to start reading Torah more often. I mean, it's not that I don't read Torah, it's
right.
just that I just need to get into it more often. Normally, like I said, right now I'm doing a lot of stuff with the kids, so only things in Torah I go to are the ones that I know very well, like I know with my eyes closed. So
Ah,
you know what I
ah,
mean? Yeah, so
right.
that's what I've been doing with the kids. You know what I'm saying? Like yeah, but
Here,
I need to
let me
get
screen
into
share
it
it real
better.
quick. Yeah, this is this is it right here. You can actually they said it's free, so you can request free Torah portion schedules.
Okay,
And then it's got a download.
PDF. Yeah, I see that. Okay.
And this
Now
is for any. Yeah, go ahead.
no, I was gonna ask. Now, do they come like by each book, like a Torah portion for Genesis, or all 5 books all at once? Is it
All five
sectioned
books
off?
all in one. Yeah, it's sectioned off. So let me pull that back up and let me see here. Up. Let's see. You see that?
Nah, you haven't screen shared it yet.
Yeah. Okay. Let me. So okay. So for this Shabbat or this Sabbath, you have your Vayeshev. And that means and he dwelled. Um, starts off at Genesis 37. So they'll break it off and give you a portion from the Torah, the connecting passage in the prophets, and the connecting passage in the Gospels. Sometimes the Gospels don't have a connection to the Torah and the prophets. Sometimes. So you got Genesis 37, verses 1 through chapter 40, verse 23. And then Amos chapter 2, to chapter 3, verse 8. That's how you read that. And then John chapter 2, verse 13 through chapter 4, verse 42. So they break it off each week so that by the end of the year, um, by the end of the year, you'll have gotten through the whole Torah. And I like it because it actually gives passages of the prophets that relate to stories or passages or lessons learned from the Torah. You can make the connections and see how they connect also to the Gospels, to the New Testament. Uh, Very enlightening. You start to see a lot of parallels. Um, you'll definitely start to see. I know for me, Brother BA, I can definitely see the Messiah, Yeshua, all through the Tanakh, starting, from Bereshit all the way to Malachi. So
Yeah, I agree. You can find the Messiah from the first page into the last page.
right.
Yeah, you can. I mean, and I think that's another reason why a lot of our brothers who we like to always call non-messianic, because I think they are part of the problem as well when it comes to limiting the Most High to a name pronunciation, limiting him, because that's how they don't see the Messiah, because the name of the Most High has a substance to it, and Christ is the image of that. Christ is very important, and when you take away Christ and you disconnect him from Torah and the writings of the prophets, then you have limited your understanding. You've just limited yourself. And you find yourself having that same spirit that the Pharisees and the Sadducees had. And that's why they destroyed him, because they limited themselves just to the law. And there's nothing wrong with the law. But one thing I noticed, I forget where in the Gospels when the Pharisees, they were talking amongst themselves, and they said that Christ, he transgressed our law. See, and that's the problem, because I hear a lot of brethren say the laws are our laws, they belong to us. See, and that's the problem. You know what I'm saying? When you sit back and say they're your laws, then you just mess up everything, because this divine, that's what Torah means, divine order. I think that's what Torah means. But the thing is that Torah was already set in stone before man existed. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is that man, or Israel rather, thought it was their law because they were the first people to hear it come out of the Most High's mouth, and it was given to them. So they just automatically claimed that it was their law, but the Most High told them, these are my laws, and you keep them and you do them, and this is life, and you will live. These are my sayings. That's what the Most High told them. But when you have subjected the Most High's laws to your laws, then you've missed the whole substance. You missed it. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. He was talking about they was accusing him of breaking the Sabbath.
Yeah.
Right. Let me see. Um, um, I know where it is, but no, that's not it. Let me see.
There was also a brother I was listening to speak once a while back.
It's
And
go
he's
ahead.
non-messianic, and he said some interesting things about Christ. He was saying how when you really go into the scriptures and read the New Testament, and these are his words, he was saying pretty much that this is the first time I heard this come out of a guy who don't believe in Christ say this. He said Christ did not break any laws at all. And this came out of a non-messianic Hebrew's mouth. It shocked me a little bit, because normally they won't say that normally. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sitting up here like, for a person to come out and say that speaks a lot of volumes, man. And maybe we got a lot of closet Christ believers, man. I think that's what we got going on nowadays. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
no Hebrew that's a non-messianic or a messianic, or well, they call themselves messianic, but a Hebrew that does not accept Christ as a Messiah will not come out and say that. It is what.
Yeah, I've heard of some people like that too, where they just believe they believe the Messiah was just a good prophet.
Yeah.
But let me read this before I forget, because this was the law that the Pharisees accused Messiah of breaking. It was the Sabbath. It's Matthew chapter 12. Matthew chapter 12 says, at that time, Yeshua went through the grain fields on the Sabbath. He went through the grain fields on the Sabbath, and his taught ones or his disciples were hungry and began to pluck heads of grain to eat. And when the Pharisees saw it, they said to him, look, your taught ones are doing what is not right to do on the Sabbath. But he said to them, have you not read what David did when he was hungry? And he and those who were with him, how he went into the house of Elohim and ate the showbread, which was not right for him to eat, nor for those who were with him, but only for the priests? Or did you not read in the Torah that on the Sabbath, the priests in the set-apart place profane the Sabbath and are blameless? I'll just go down to verse 8. It says, for the son of Adam is the master of the Sabbath. You know, the son of Adam is the master of the Sabbath, and Yeshua is the son of Adam. He's the master of the Sabbath. So they accused him of breaking their oral tradition law, because Brother BA in the Talmud, in broken down in the Mishnah within the Talmud, you know, they have like these 39 things, a list of 39 things that you can't do on the Sabbath. And so that's like real burdensome. That's what Yeshua was talking about in Matthew 23, talking about you lay heavy burdens on men, but don't lift a finger to do the things you tell other people to do. You don't lift a finger to do these things yourself, but you lay these heavy burdens on men to tell them they got to do them. So, you know, that's the oral law that Yeshua was up against. And Yeshua was not breaking the law. He wasn't breaking the law of Moshe. He was breaking their man-made law, but he wasn't breaking the law of Moshe. And I believe that's Deuteronomy 23. Real quick, if I can remember. Yeah, Deuteronomy 23.
It is.
Yeah, Deuteronomy, huh?
Yeah, it is Deuteronomy 23 because it talks about how you can go into the field and pick. Hold on, that's crazy because I was just reading that not too long ago.
Yeah.
Deuteronomy 23. Yeah, it talks about how you can pick through the field and eat. Yeah, I'm paraphrasing, but something amongst those lines.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's I was reading that recently.
Mhm.
And yeah, it says, when thou comest into thy neighbor's vineyard, then thou mayst eat his grapes, thy fill at thy own pleasure, but thou shalt not put any in thy vessel. When thou comest into the standing corn, when thou comest into standing corn of thy neighbor, then thou mayest pluck the ears with thy hand, but thou shalt not move a sick one to thy neighbor's standing corn. Yeah, that is it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and that's another thing, Brother BA. You know, I think in the KJV there's a nice L when it talks about the oral or traditions of men law, and then there's a capital L that signifies the law of Moshe. Is that correct, or am I off?
Yeah, it's in the 1611 it has it like that. In the New King James is not as in the New King James I don't see it that much. I don't see it. I haven't really noticed it, but I know for a fact in the 1611. I normally have my 1611 on deck, but right now we're in the middle. We're in the middle of getting ready to prepare ourselves to move. So I think I probably packed it up on accident, thinking that I didn't pack it, but I think I did. So
right, it's all good.
Yeah. So only ones I got right now is just my Septuagint, and I have a Hebrew and Greek interlinear translation, and then just my New King James that I have on me currently.
Where'd you get your Septuagint from, if you don't mind me asking, because I want to get one.
I got it off off Amazon. Britain. The company is Britain. Yes, it's the Septuagint with Apocrypha by Britain. It's the most common. It's the most common one that I see a lot of people with.
Okay. You know, I like the I have the version on my phone in an app I use called My Sword here. I don't know if see.
Yeah, I
It
see it.
actually, yeah, it has like you can download all these different Bible modules within it within the app. So I have the Septuagint here, but I want to ask you, have you did a lot of comparison um with the KJV and the Septuagint? Because there's a lot of things I see mistranslated when it comes to mistranslated or left out. And even in the KJV and any other Bible version where the
Yeah,
Messiah talks about he comes in the body of the volume of the book, and also they took out the part in Psalms 40 where it says a body you have prepared, a body you have prepared for me.
hmm
Um, and then in Psalms 145, the Septuagint has it, but in the KJV and in other Bible translations, it leaves out a portion.
yeah.
Um,
There is a lot of differences. Yeah, that's one thing I've noticed when I've been I've had this Septuagint for about maybe 2 years now, and I've been going through with my KJV, and there are a lot of things missing, a lot. So I haven't really done is that much detail and trying to find out why. Um, because of the last year and some has been a I don't want to say that it's been heavy. It's been heavy the last year or so. That's not a good excuse, but I just haven't taken the time out to just find out why. But there are some very big differences. Like in the King James, Jeremiah 30 is totally different from the Jeremiah 30 in the Septuagint. Totally different. You know what I'm
okay,
saying?
right.
So that's one thing that stood out to me as well. There are some differences as well. And there's another Greek text. It's called the Vulgate, I believe. And there was another one called the Pentateuch.
The Pentateuch.
There you go, Pentateuch. Yeah, those were other ones I was interested in. You know what I'm saying, and getting myself. And just to, because I like to have different texts. I mean, I'm a book nerd. I'm a bookworm. I like to have different types of books to read, especially the scriptures. I just like to look into them and just see the differences and what is it that made this type of translation as special as it is. Because a lot of people consider the Vulgate and the Pentateuch. Uh, some people rather, cause I know a lot of people that consider reading those other than the Septuagint. So I don't know why, but I would just like to just have those books on deck just to see what's the difference.
Yeah, that's what I'm starting to feel, brother BA. Just having the different translations for good comparative study. Gotta have good comparative study because like we're acknowledging some things left out, some things added, some things changed over here, one word mistranslated over here, one word translated correctly over here. So it's good to do a comparative study uh, and things of that nature. That's what I was asking about. But yeah, so yeah, once you start, I will say once you start getting into more Torah studies, because I believe, brother BA, a lot of our brothers and sisters do know a good amount of the Torah. But once you start going through it over and over again, you start picking up on things as to why the father was saying this to the prophets, or why the prophets were saying this to the people, why the father was angry over here, why Shaul was able to say this over here. You know, you'll start zooming back to the Torah. You know what I mean? Once you start getting the repetitive nature um, of going through the Torah cycle, you'll start picking it up just like that. You'll know why, like what we were just saying. I had a conversation with some people I used to do a study with. I kind of postponed those studies with those peoples for now because I want to go hard on the Hebrew language studies. But he asked me. He said, because what we just read, Jeremiah 31 verses 31 through what did we read? 36,
Yeah,
and
31 through
also
35.
35. Okay, That passage right there, and then I believe Isaiah 54, where it says, "For your maker is your husband," and he was asking me, wait a minute, where did the father marry Israel? How is the father considered our husband? Where did he ask? He was asking, where did we get married at? And you know what I was able to do? Go back to the Torah. And I
Most
took him to
definitely.
Exodus chapter 19.
Yep, Exodus chapter 19, because that's when the covenant was made. That's when the covenant was. That's what a covenant is. It's a marriage. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Exodus 19. Yeah, Exodus 19 covers the whole situation, the whole ordeal. It covers everything.
Right. And that's where I'll be telling people, like, but B, I don't know if you get this conversation, but some people ask why we believe in the Creator like we do. We believe in the Most High because they believe He's cruel and, you know, unloving. And I'm like, well, He's just a normal parent. You know, he chases the ones He loves, right? So the thing is, the thing is, we love the Father because He takes care of us, and we don't have a bunch of rules. Okay, we don't have a bunch of rules. We have guidelines, but we don't have rules. We have a covenant. We have an agreement, and the stipulations to the agreement are the Torah. It's just like, let me put it in regular terms for us here. Um, when a male and a female is you know doing the law of the land thing, going to get and married, because we know that's not biblical marriage, but we got to follow the laws of the land. So when you go male and a female, you're exchanging your vows, and you're saying, I will love you, your sickness and health, for better or for worse, till death do you part. Do you take this such and such? And you be like, I do. Okay. That's what went on. You know what I'm saying? That's what went on in Exodus 19 and 20. So we don't have rules. We have an agreement. We have a covenant. We
Exactly.
have things going on between each other that we're gonna adhere to. I'm gonna love you by doing this. You're gonna love me by doing that. Uh, that's what it is, brother BA.
Yeah, and the thing is that when people hear about a husband, I think a lot of people they take that word and they make it seem like, oh, this guy is so cruel. He's forcing you to do everything because the word husband. It doesn't literally mean that in an authoritative way to where he's a bully over us. That's just the position he plays. He's the protector. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people, when it comes to this guy, again, like I was saying earlier, we have to realize this is a spiritual being, and he has many ways of expressing himself. So when people have to understand this guy, you have to take him out of this box of some type of deity that you're watching on television, because that's the problem. The television has done this guy no justice. People are taking carnal, worldly items and placing this guy within that box of idolatry. And they're making him out to be some tyrant god who just gets jealous and he just abuses people who doesn't do what he say. We have to understand that this God is transcendent. He is beyond the physical, beyond your understanding, beyond the average understanding. I mean, his ways are not our ways. His thoughts are not our thoughts. And some people, they just can't take that. They have to find out, well, why this and why that. And I told a brother, man, I told a brother once before, I said to him, if you have to continuously question this and question that, then this God is not God for you. And don't get upset and argue with me because I'm willing to submit to the will of this God, because I know if I do according to what he has said, I will be in good standing with him. I'm okay with that. But for those who are not okay with that, then that's on you. But don't fuss and fight with me over it. So, and most of the time, I just have to. There's times where I got to be quiet and not say nothing, because when you're dealing with people, when you're taking this daily walk, and you're dealing with people outside this walk, they just make it seem like you're just a spook or you're just some crazy, insane person who's just lost all sense of reasoning. Well, deep down inside, this society we live in has lost all reasoning. That's the society is crazy. It's not us. So I don't know. Is that Brother Daryl?
Brother Daryl on mute. He may not be able to. He may not be able to say something.
Hey sis, I hate to walk away.
You gotta go.
Yeah, my mom is staying with me currently, so I have to go pick her up, man, and from school, because she's going to school out here in Marysville.
No problem. We can end it right here, because this has definitely been good. Now I appreciate your spirit, Brother BA. I appreciate your build, your edification, and most importantly, your love.
Well, hey, most definitely, it's just same to here. I appreciate you, and believe me, I got a lot of respect for you, sis, because when it comes to the Hebrew and understanding what the Hebrew says, you're well studied, and whatever you bring to the table, you got my attention. I love you, and I appreciate everything you're all about. You know what I'm saying? I'm your brother in Christ, and I got your back. And I won't be able to get back with you on Facebook because my account's been hacked into. So, yeah, man. So, I can't. They want me to send in my ID and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, so I'm not feeling that. Yeah, I'm not feeling that, man. So, I think I'm done with Facebook for a while.
I understand. I can get with you on the Google Plus all day, though.
Yeah, exactly. If you see me on Google Plus, you can find me there.
Right. I love you too, Brother BA. Man, you've been on my mind, you and your wife, your fam. And please, if you hear from Elijah, tell Elijah I said hello.
Oh, most definitely. He's working now, and he found him a place to live. He wanted to move on. I mean, I told him he's always welcome to stay, but he decided that it's about that time for him to move on. And I told him, man, because he was like, man, I don't want to just take off like that. I'm like, look, man, it's all good. My payment is that you earn your feet, because
Right.
he was down and out when he came to us, and I had no issue with helping him out, because that's in the Torah. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
To help out your brother and don't take no usury of him. And
Right.
I told him flat out, man, you're good. My payment is that you're up and you're on your feet and you can take care of yourself and keep it that way. You know what I'm saying? And it's all good,
Right.
man. It's all good. So most definitely, I will let him know. He's supposed to be trying to get in on Tuesday nights with us, but his work schedule is kind of crazy right now.
Right
So
on.
most definitely, I will let him know.
All right. Well, take care. Have a great night.
All right, shalom, sis.
Shalom.
Much love.
Much love. All right. Let's see, Brother Daryl. Did you want to say anything? I know you've been laying back kind of low, but if you don't want to say anything or may not be able to say anything, I can close it out until next week. Nope. All right. So we're gonna end it like this. FTF, First Tabernacle Fellowship. Turn up and talk it out Tuesdays. Once again, I am Ashanti. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, you can leave them in the comment section. If you have any questions for our head rabbi, shepherd, Pastor Robert B. Holman Jr., you can leave those questions in the comment section as well, and I'll be sure to get those to him. Also, www.firsttab.org. That's our website. We have a Ustream link there, so you can watch live Torah studies on Wednesday nights at 7:00 p.m. Pacific time, and you can watch our live Ustream of our Shabbat services at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Also, the phone number 444-1908 if you have any questions or concerns, or want to have a fellowship congregation family to worship the Father with, get some support, edification, and love. We're at 1211 C Street here in the city of Sacramento, and every Tuesday night at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time is when we have this. If you come to me and say, hey, Ashanti, 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time is just too early for me to come in and join. What about 7 p.m.? You know what? Let me know. We'll work it out so you can attend if you want to be in the meeting. All right. And this is the place where you can come and put anything on the table. We don't shun anything away. There is no such thing as an idiotic or dumb or stupid question, because we're gonna bring it to the table. We're gonna give some encouragement and love, and we're gonna come up with a solution that's beneficial to you. All right, because that's what we about here. And as you see, we get down. We bring some serious matters, and we also are able to laugh. We laugh through it sometimes. So with that being said, I didn't get to say a prayer in the beginning, but I'm going to say a prayer going on out. And I want to thank you who joined in, and I do want to thank those for watching who will see this later on. Hope it's a blessing to you. Praise Yah. Heavenly Father, thank you once again for this day. Thank you for allowing us to join together in fellowship in your name, Father. Sending your Holy Spirit to lead us and guide us through all truth as we come together and discuss your word, your Torah, your spirit, Heavenly Father, so we can get that close, intimate, personal relationship with you that you desire. Heavenly Father, we give you all praise and honor and glory for each and every last blessing that you've bestowed upon us, that you're doing now, and that you're going to do. Heavenly Father, we thank you also very much for the people who've attended, those who wanted to but could not make it. Heavenly Father, we just ask that you would keep us protected, Father, wherever we go, until we meet again. And in these things I ask, your darling son, Yeshua's name, Bashem Yeshua HaMashiach, I pray. Amen. First Tabernacle Fellowship, Pastor Robert B. Holman Jr. is the pastor, head shepherd, and rabbi. Until then, Yisrael, I say shalom, shalom, and leila tov.